This is the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast, and I'm your host, Trudy Simmons from the Daisy Chain Group, providing platforms for women entrepreneurs to be seen and heard. This platform is for women entrepreneurs that want to hear the real stories of what it takes to be yourself and run a business with all the different hats that you might have to wear. These are the stories of the tenacious, the rebellious, and the resilient women that are working towards the future that they want to build for themselves and their families. Hello and welcome to the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast. And today I am thrilled, excited and so pleased to introduce you to Kate Powe from Kate Powe Natural Medicine. Kate, thank you so much for being a part of Volume 2. Please tell us about your business.
Oh, thanks, Trudy. Thanks for having me. So I am a naturopath based in Sydney, and basically I run an online business to help in women's hormonal health is my specialty. So anything to do with periods, hormones, the gamut of women's health is my passion.
What's really brilliant about your career before that is it had nothing to do with what you do now. But how did your corporate career drive you to change your life?
Yeah, so I think, look, it was probably corporate and health issues combined that made the mix. But really, it was, I guess I'd always wanted to work in corporate. It was my passion, and I tried many different industries and thought, this is great, this is what I want. But at each stage that I went through each of those industries, whether it was investment banking or advertising or software or all those kind of things, I just realized none of this is cutting the mustard for me. I'm not very interested in this. And at the same time, I think I went through a lot of burnout and suffering my own health issues. So on the side, I was kind of looking at, well, how can I get answers for my own health, which I wasn't finding in the Western medical model. So I started to sort of getting really interested in natural medicine. And I think the two sort of combined at the right time. And I realized corporate is not where I am supposed to be. And actually, I've got this big shiny object over here, which I'm fascinated in. So yeah, that's kind of how I made the shift.
And it's really interesting, the book, because you talk about endometriosis. You say it.
Close enough. Endometriosis. Yes, correct.
And adenomyosis.
Adenomyosis. Yeah. Great, doing well.
And it's they're hot topics at the moment, but also they've never been talked about in a way that it's getting more exposure now, which is it's so sad that that's happening. But whilst you were suffering with that, you were trying to have this big corporate career. How do you manage that? And is that what drove you to your new career?
Yeah, it really did. I mean, and there's so much shame and embarrassment, especially because it's not like you've got a broken leg or something. It's, who wants to talk about period problems? and because even I think back then, and a lot of women will understand this as well, it's A, you don't talk about it, but B, endometriosis, which is a specific reproductive, condition. Doctors didn't even know about it then. So I went sort of 13 years undiagnosed going, well, what's wrong with me? And am I just making this up? And am I just not coping, And it wasn't until I got the diagnosis that I realized, oh my God, well, why has no one told me about this? Why is no one talking about this? Why can't I even get answers from the medical professionals? So it really did make me go, well, I have to take, the bull by the horns really and find out solutions for myself. And that's how I just sparked, okay, what other avenues can I look down? And I found there was, at that stage, even then quite early on, some research into endometriosis in natural medicine. Now, thankfully, there's, so much more time and money and energy and, government putting actual health money and dollars into it, which is great. So, yeah.
But coming out of corporate, you then studied like a demon, as you do. And then you saw old patterns repeating themselves when you were qualified. How did you stop those old patterns and start dreaming about what you actually wanted to happen?
Yeah, that was probably by force, because like, as you said, the irony now, when you look back, it's like I'm studying natural medicine, but I was working full time, being a carer full time for a parent, and working and studying full time. So I was literally heading for, my own adrenal burnout, nervous breakdown, whatever you want to call it. all the while learning about how to take care of yourself and actually how to, so there was this big disparity going on in my world. And once I finished study, I also stepped into a clinic role, which was extremely stressful. And I think I just hit complete burnout. And like a lot of women in a lot of industries, but it's also not that unusual in the naturopathic world. We are there to help women. It's a very an industry where we're helping people, not just women, but people who are ill and sick. And so we just push and push and push and forget about ourselves. So it really did come out of, me going, I literally can't keep this up and I can't do this. So I kind of, I had finished study. I left the job that I had started working on at the same time. And it forced me to kind of look at, well, okay, if this isn't it, like, what is my ideal way of working? Like, I'd never allowed myself to think about that. I think coming from my upbringing and the corporate roles that I'd had, I'd always just assumed that you have to work for somebody. You get a job and you work for someone. I'd never even considered that I could start something up myself. So it did make me get literally write it down on paper and just nut it out about what would be my dream, like, and get really creative and crazy. And it's like, I just want to travel and I want to be free and I want to work from home. I don't even want to go into a clinic. Like, I don't want to work in a clinic space and I want to work online. And I just started putting all these pieces together, and suddenly it made so much sense, because it was like, well, actually, that's really cost effective. I don't have to outlay any money for a business. I don't have to start up, my startup costs were really low. And I could just trial it and see how it went. And it just continued on and on from there, which was fabulous.
It's an important thing to talk about, because I think that even when a lot of women start their own businesses, they think that that's going to be the fix of being able to do what they want. And it might be in their business sense, but if you don't think about how you want your life to look, that's when burnout can creep in so quickly and easily, because you're still driving yourself and pushing through, rather than my lifestyle and what I want is to be able to travel. I want to be able to work online. And your sense of freedom comes through in the book as well. And creating that sense of freedom is always at the forefront of what you do and how you work.
And I think it's just giving yourself permission. Like I said, I just never had considered that I was allowed to. It was this really weird, almost light bulb moment of, well, hang on, like, there's no different of me working this way to that way, seeing people or working in a clinic to just choosing how I do it. But actually I'd never seen a model like that done before in our world. It was very much like a medical model where you go and see your doctor and you sit in a clinic waiting room and, and you get a script and you buy things right there in a brick and mortar store. And no one had told me I could do it differently, but suddenly I went, well, why not? Like, it just made complete sense to me to do it that way. So
create what you want. That's the way to do it.
So true.
Amazing. In the book, you say that nothing is ever wasted. Why did you say that?
Well, hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? I mean, I was one of those people that always just wished I knew that I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or, whatever, and just did it because I'm very, structured, I guess. And it was always, I kept thinking, what's wrong with me, going through these long and winding journey of why is nothing satisfying me? Like I thought everything, I was wasting time, and it wasn't till I was early 40s that I changed my career path and started restudying even again, let alone starting a new business. So I was thinking I've just left it too late, but really looking back, that gift of time was the best thing that ever could have happened to me, because I worked in lots of different industries that helped me set up my business. So, I was really au fait with software working for Microsoft. So I was kind of really happy with the online space. I've worked as a, graphic designer and advertising. So I knew how to design my own website and all the marketing collateral and sales funnels and all that kind of stuff. So that was a really big cost saving to me. So I could do all that myself. So that was awesome. But also just my age, like just being 40s, even though I was a newly graduated naturopath, people look at you and think, oh, you not only know what you're talking about, which, you're not going to fudge it, but people felt comfortable rather than, telling their chronic health issues to a 19 or 20-year-old. Not that that's a, deterrent, but it made me feel better. But also you just have life experience. And I had so much of my own life experience and through my family and lots of other people dealing with their health issues that I felt really comfortable talking about really, sometimes awkward or embarrassing issues or whatever with people, because it was just kind of my normal. So I think that age and maturity really helped me as well. So I look back and think everything was just so perfectly timed for me to do what I'm doing now. So yeah,
that's the thing, isn't it? And it is with hindsight. And when you are going through some of these things, you think, why on earth would I need this, or why on earth am I putting myself through this? And you get through it and you get to some part of having your own business and think, oh, that's why I did that. I love that. Nothing's wasted.
Nothing's wasted. And yet for years I thought, what's wrong with me? It's so, you beat yourself up so much going, why can't I find, and then you realize, look, you've just got to trust that everything's just leading you to where you're supposed to be. So yeah.
Yes. What is one lesson that you've learned that you would want every entrepreneur to know?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is just to back yourself. I think as you know, I'm not the best at making decisions, Trudy Simmons, you know me a little bit. I'm not the most quick decision maker, but for really big things in my life where I get a strong yes or no, I have no issue jumping, moving locations, jumping careers, whatever. That's a no-brainer to me. And I remember, working for some of the industries that it took me 6 months to get the job, and people were just like, you're crazy for leaving XYZ, and financially that's terrible. But that was just, I think I just knew that, no, I think in the entrepreneurial world, there is that phrase about failing fast, and I think the quicker I got to learn that it's just a wrong decision. There's no bad decision. It's just, okay, I don't want to do this. So let's just and do something different. And any kind of forward movement is better than being stuck in something that where you don't want to be,
back yourself. Outcome ends up being a bad decision or a good decision. Back yourself in doing it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. What's your favorite piece of business software?
Oh, so this is, and it's not for everybody, but anyone that is working either medically or in the health space or in even physical therapies, manual therapies, massage and that kind of thing. So it's called Clinico. It's my CRM, customer, what do you call it? Relationship management system. But I love it because it's my complete suppository for everything that I need to run my business. So it means I can run completely paperless. In there. It also links in with my accounting software with Xero, etc. So it's a really nice, easy way to run my business exactly how I want to run it, which is completely paperless and completely portable. So as long as I've got my laptop, I can do whatever I want. So
exactly. And I've said this before to people, but I love hearing about these pieces of software because you just never know who that's going to help, because we sometimes think that in specific industries, it's hard to find software that can help us with our business, but there's everything out there. You just got to look for it. So that's a brilliant thing to tell people. Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure.
Hey, what a pleasure. And your journey is one that I love hearing about because it came from such an amazing corporate career to what you're doing now, and the journey that you've been through with your health as well. It's really inspirational to read the chapter. So thank you so much for being in Shine On You Crazy Daisy. Thanks, Kate.
Thanks so much for having me, Trudy. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast. If you've liked what you've seen today, then please make sure that you click the subscribe button to this channel to see more inspiration and motivation as more of these stories keep coming out. And if you want even more, click on the link below this video and go and have a look at the series of books Shine On You Crazy Daisy and get even more inspiration and motivation for you and your business.